So yeah, so skooma dealer, there is an idea that, well, I mean, it's perfectly valid. A mature voice is a mature voice, but some people do really love hearing anomalies of singing, right? How many kids can sing this way? Like one, her. Hey, real quick, I just want to welcome you to the Big Brain Singer channel, where singers and music lovers come together. I'm Charlie, and my goal is to share my knowledge of singing and love of music with as many people as possible. If you want to be the first to experience reactions just like this one, please join us on Twitch, links down below, Monday, Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you yourself are an aspiring singer and want a mini voice lesson from me, I hold a free and open vocal clinic every Friday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern as well. So make sure to join our community Discord server. Links are also down below. To join hundreds of music lovers like yourself and to stay updated on community events. I hope to see you there, and I hope you enjoy this reaction and analysis. We're going to listen to Angelina Jordan, I Put a Spell on You. What?
Because you're mine.
Market, why'd you have to show me this?
Stop the things you do. I ain't lying.
So I have two contradictory thoughts about this. Thanks for bringing that up, Skyface. I'm going to touch on that. Artistry here. The way she is singing is the flexibility that she's delivering. Is really, really impressive, right? So it's a lot of flexibility. Now, one has to ask the question, like, did she just mimic something and is copying that, or is she intentionally choosing these vocal ideas for her own expressiveness, right? One has to ask that question. I don't know if she practiced. I mean, so yeah, if it's good. If she's older now and she didn't hurt herself singing this young, that's great. Because there's nothing in her voice right here that sounds unhealthy to me. Now, when you're listening to like young girls singing operatic stuff, those are the situations, and like faking vibrato, those are the situations where you hear that voice get older and you hear that voice like get completely destroyed. But I think there's the other question of like the subject matter of this song. Is it useful coming from a 7-year-old? Like there's kind of this, when you're listening to music, you're not just listening to how impressive things are. But you know, when we're listening to music, hearing a 7-year-old sing this, like it causes like this cognitive dissonance in your head where you're just like, what? Now, mind you, everything she's doing is very sophisticated vocally, super impressive, and I can't comment. I mean, it's amazing. Like, it sounds really, really amazing. I don't think there's an idea I think you can't age a voice, right? I don't know. Someone said something about someone reacting to this and saying that they talked about aging the voice or something like that. She's using a lot of different vocal colors, different ideas. Hi, Jonas. And it sounds really great, but it does sound unnatural, because how would a 7-year-old understand? And I'm not saying it's impossible. She's making beautiful sounds, but how would a 7-year-old know like what this song is about and what this song? I mean, it's entirely possible that she heard it and was inspired and created these vocal colors out of it, and listened to people before her and learned from them, and that's beautiful. I think learning from artists before you is a beautiful thing. And I'm making a lot of assumptions about the situation. But it's also entirely possible that someone was like, you're going to make this sound at this point, and you're going to make this word this way, and you're going to sound this way. And all too often does that result in something negative. Now, it's amazing to hear that she didn't hurt her voice as the voice matured, because this is before vocal maturity, and it's great. It's great to learn how to sing before your voice fully matures during puberty. And obviously for male voices, that maturation is much more drastic than female voices. But I think it's also something to say that patience with the voice is also very important. Now, I want to hear the rest of the song, because quite frankly, this sounds amazing and absolutely fantastic. And it's incredibly inappropriate to have children sing O mio babbino caro, because have you noticed that every single one of those girls who's gone up on like PBS or whatever those big like concerts are, or shows, whatever, they stop singing after they're teenagers. There's like no point at which I haven't heard of a singer who kept singing and kept singing well after someone taught them how to make this like fake vibrato sound. Yes, it's beautiful objectively in the moment, but the long-term technical deficits of that is really, really, really bad. And I'm not saying that based on anything but historical proof of what's happened to these young singers as they've grown older. That being said, the ability to make all these sounds is absolutely gorgeous at this point. I have nothing negative to say about this vocal performance. Really fantastic.
Things you do. Hey, what's up? I ain't lying.
Yeah, because she still sounds like a kid, right? She doesn't sound like an adult singing this. She's just using really sophisticated vocal methods, which actually sounds really nice. Huge fan, actually. I want to listen to more of her. I just saw it peak at one point, Kobinja, so that's why I turned it down. Skooma, you need to join our Discord, because if you just started singing because you had nothing else to do, and now you do it every day, and basically as an antidepressant, that's something I resonate with so much. Market, I don't really do this for the views, but that's good to know. But yeah, so there's a part of me that wants to be like, she's like the Mozart of jazz singing. Like, as a kid is completely exploring the entire extent of vocal expressivity in this repertoire. Super, super awesome. But then there is the argument as well that you're exploiting children when you're doing this kind of stuff, or putting this kind of production together, because people want to see virtuosic things. This is a virtuosic performance. There's just a lot of questions that come up because of things that you've seen in the past. I've seen in the past of people sharing those videos of young girls singing O mio babbino caro, and then 8 years later, they don't have a voice, or they're sounding really unhealthy and they look miserable. And exploitation is something you really, really need to be aware of, especially in the arts. And that goes back to that idea of why Marco is leaving Nightwish and is changing his career up. Because it feels too much like exploitation sometimes, if that's what's happening. So.
Love you, I love you, I love you, I love you anyhow. I don't care if you don't want me, I'm yours right now. I put a spell on you because you're
That's awesome. That's so good. Like the way that her vibrato is working is completely natural. It's a really relaxed vocal. It's a really relaxed vocal position, right? It's like it's a natural fluttering of the chords, and it's not breathy, which would indicate that there is like undue tension. It's really just a good phonatory method, and she's making consistent distortion in the sound every time she does it. But she still sounds like a 7-year-old girl. She doesn't sound like an older person, which is also really nice to hear, in that it doesn't sound like someone tried to change her voice. I want to explore her as a singer more, to kind of understand how she approached singing and how she learned about singing, and who taught her, and if someone taught her, or if she just learned by ear, or that kind of thing, because those are the kind of questions that give you a good idea surrounding the ethics of singing. People don't really put much credit to that, but there is a lot, I believe, there's a lot of weight that can be put on the idea of the ethics of teaching singing, and how you can teach singing in an effective way, or you can exploit people and teach them how to get results quickly that will damage their voice. Those are two sides of the argument, and I think it's really important that we do teach singing in a slow, steady, effective way, rather than try to just pander to people who want results quickly, because there's no such thing as quick results when it comes to singing. But Market Anarchy, like, you hear when the male voice changes, a lot of boy sopranos stop singing after their voices change, much more so than girls who go through the same age change, because it's much more difficult to adapt a boy soprano technique to a matured male voice technique. Really interesting, though. Interesting to talk about, though. Yeah, Snout. I mean, I'm not doubting that these people love singing. These kids love singing. It's clear that she is like really passionate about what she's doing, which is beautiful, and I love hearing that. And it's contributing to how effective this performance is. And she's not changing what she's doing. Like, that's why I think that this is on like the positive end of like virtuoso, like young Wunderkind singing. This is a positive example of it, which is actually really inspiring, because I haven't seen many of these. I haven't seen many examples of positive experiences of like young Wunderkind virtuosos singing. So I think this is a really good example of how it can be done well, right? Gender aside, I think this is a great example of really great singing. Doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter if she were 90 years old and doing the same thing, it would just be as impactful. This is really beautiful singing.
I don't care if you don't want me. I'm yours right now.
Yeah. So final thoughts. That was really lovely. There was nothing inherently unhealthy. We talk about Wunderkind singing a lot. We've listened to girls singing O mio babino caro. For some reason, people love that. And you can hear what unhealthy stuff is going on in the voice. However, with this, with Angelina, right? There was nothing unhealthy going on in that voice. She sounded like a 7-year-old. She sounded like she was singing her heart out and using really fantastic coloration of the voice, really fantastic vocal choices to sing something quite beautiful. Yeah, that was great. I mean, I totally see that argument, Dennis Ario. And unfortunately, that's another end. Like if you're someone who listens to music for the story and the emotion and not just the technique of it, then you're going to not enjoy this kind of singing, right? So yeah, so Skooma Dealer, there is an idea that, well, I mean, it's perfectly valid. A mature voice is a mature voice. But some people do really love hearing anomalies of singing, right? How many kids can sing this way? Like one, her, you know? As adults, there are lots of singers who learn over time how to use different stylistic vocalisms, right? To do that kind of thing. And maybe the most impressive thing is that she was able to grasp and master those concepts off the bat, like so quickly. Whereas some people, we were talking about Yarko earlier, someone said he sounds so good because it's just 20 years of singing. And I don't think that's necessarily all that goes into it. Time is one thing, and time is required to acquire certain vocal abilities. But being able to acquire vocal skill like this at a really fast rate is also an incredibly interesting thing to listen to. So it begs the question, does someone listen to her songs like on repeat, or do a lot of people just check it out because they hear there's a 7-year-old singing like she's like a master in her mid-30s at her genre, right? Yes. So I think if a kid is forced to perform publicly without their actual, you know, I mean, then that brings up the issue of like, are kids able to give their consent for things like that? Okay, guys. Yeah, no, I mean, we could open a can of worms with this, but all in all, a fantastic performance. I loved it. Wow, you're still here. If you did enjoy the video, I want to invite you to check out my Patreon page where I offer multiple tiers of perks for both aspiring singers as well as music lovers who want to take their listening skills to the next level. Also, I do need to say it, like 90% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel. It really doesn't take much. Can you please just press the little button down there? If you made it this far, you probably fit in right with the rest of the people who are the Big Brain community. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.